Hello, Paul Scott again. This is my video for week 2 of producing the high school play. And the reading this week focused on casting, auditioning, and rehearsals for a play. And I'm fortunate in that I am currently assistant directing a play at the local community college. So most of my insight and reaction to the reading will be driven by the experience that I'm currently going through working on that play. So the first thing in the reading dealt with a prompt book, and to be honest, I don't have one and have never used one. This is my first experience directing, and the organization or the way the cast and crew are organized is that the stage management team keeps what would be the equivalent of the prompt book. So, as the director and I give blocking instructions, for example, um, there is actually an application on a laptop that the stage management is using to record all of the blocking that we instruct the actors to follow. And any kind of sort of style notes or other ideas for the prompt book, to the best of my knowledge, are not written down anywhere in the production that we're on, though that would be helpful, I imagine. But we rely on the actors to take notes on the direction that we give in terms of the tone and their performance and other aspects of the acting. And then stage management is the one who keeps notes on things like lighting and sound cues and entrances and exits and other kind of blocking like that. So I like the idea of a prompt book. I think if I ever direct a play on my own, which is the goal, obviously, I think it would be very helpful to have one of my own, just to keep me on track and make sure that I'm checking all the boxes for a good production. The reading then goes into auditions, and there's many ways clearly to handle auditions, open versus closed, by appointment, pre-casting in some cases. I've done a number of productions at this community college as an actor where I'm currently assistant directing, and the auditions have been consistent in that actors who are new to the program, and let me specify first that one of the advantages to working on theater at this community college is that community members like myself, who are not students at the school, are encouraged to audition and participate, as well as the students actually enrolled at the school. So we have the good fortune of having a wide variety of ages and experiences and skills of actors to choose from that, say, a high school theater teacher would not have access to for a high school production. So that's an advantage that we have. So, in terms of auditions, we ask people who have not acted in a production at this college before to come in with a prepared monologue, no more than 3 minutes, for the first audition. And we obviously observe and take notes, and we'll sometimes, as it discussed in the reading, ask them to alter their performance or make a slight change to see how susceptible they are to direction. And then for those who we think might be a good fit for the production, we have them come back for callbacks where they read sides from the script. And the goal of the callback is to see what kind of chemistry different cast members have with each other. In addition to casting sort of individual roles, we want to make sure that folks can work well together. And again, the director that I'm working with really focuses on the actor's ability to react to direction during the reading of the sides, especially to ensure that they can fit into the director's vision of what the show is going to be. They are general auditions and closed, so that we only bring in maybe 2 or 3 actors at a time to read from their sides, and the other actors wait out in the lobby. That's just the method that the crew that I work with, the director that I work with, prefer. So I haven't experienced something like an open audition where all of the actors are in the room at the same time. Next, the reading goes into casting the play, and I agree that probably the most important principle is evaluating whether this actor has the skill to pull off the role that we as the directing team envisioned the role to be like. And so we, as I said before, have the advantage if there's a wide age range in the cast, because we ask community members to come in and audition. We have the advantage of casting age appropriate actors, which again a high school or even middle school production doesn't have that ability, obviously. So that's an advantage that we have. We also do what the book refers to as educational casting. So obviously the goal of a community college theater program is to advance the skills and to teach and to give an educational experience to the actors and the crew and others involved in the production. So there are times when we will cast, and in the current production I'm working on, we have cast actors who are maybe slightly less skilled than some other options we might have, but have, in the words of the author, paid their dues, and so we're giving them an opportunity in a role that might stretch their ability, but it gives them the opportunity to grow as a performer and as a student. And in terms of open casting, which I know can be controversial, I mentioned in my writing from week one that I was in a production of Spring Awakening at this same community college. And when it talks about the Goodbye Girl syndrome, I said it would be inappropriate to cast Spring Awakening with all grown adults, right? The main focus and theme of the play is coming of age and the pitfalls that we can run into when we're dishonest with adolescents about how they're growing and changing. And so if you tried to cast Spring Awakening with all adults, it is so incongruent with the theme of the play, it just wouldn't work. But there are other examples where it can work. So the reading talked about cross-gender casting. And I, years ago, went to a production of King Lear where Lear and the three sons were all female actors. And it was one of the more powerful performances I've ever seen, especially from the woman who played Lear. So it can work. Open casting can work. Not always. You can't do a soldier story with an all-white cast. You can't do a Raisin in the Sun with an all-white cast. But there are certainly roles in various plays, and sometimes even entire casts of plays that can be unconventionally cast. And so I've seen successful open casting, and I'm certainly aware of open casting that could be disastrous to a production. In terms of rehearsal schedule, which was next in the reading, again, directing at a university, well, at a community college that has both students and community members as part of the production, we have to be mindful of their time and respectful of their time. We don't want students to be so focused on theater that they lose focus in other areas of their academics. So, and often we cast adults who have full-time jobs outside of the theater, obviously. So for our particular productions, we have evening rehearsals, usually 4 nights during the week, and then a Saturday or Sunday afternoon rehearsal. Obviously, a critical part of that is getting all of the cast members' conflicts ahead of time, or ideally at the time of rehearsal, but certainly when they're chosen to be in the cast, we need to know what all of their conflicts are so that we can schedule rehearsals appropriately. And the way that we like to organize our rehearsals, we start obviously as the reading recommends, with a table read for the first rehearsal. We just want to hear it out loud for the first time with the folks in the particular roles. And then we move on to blocking. And again, this is going to depend on performers' availability. We prefer to block from start to finish, but we may have to mix things up based on people's conflicts. And so we go through and block the whole play out. And currently, now we are in the process of running the show and working the scenes. So the blocking is done. It's been recorded in the stage management's computer. And so now we're working on characterization and the details of the production. The actors that we're working with currently have been off book for about a week. And so we're able to really work on the minutia of the production that really make it come alive. They're not walking around with scripts. They know their lines. So it's really where we're getting the most work done in terms of the polished product of the performance. Obviously, once we've done run through and we get closer to opening, we'll have tech rehearsals with a walkthrough and then full on tech rehearsals, followed by the dress rehearsals and then opening night. One of the things in the reading that was interesting to me was it talked about dealing with conflict either among the cast or among the crew or between the cast and crew. And our stage manager in this particular production did something that I haven't experienced before in any of the productions I've worked on. And that is they established essentially a chain of command for conflict. So the stage management and directing team at the first rehearsal, we left the room and we asked the actors on their own to nominate one person of each gender to act as the person who, if there is a conflict, anybody in the cast can go to first. So usually it's from what I'm told, it's an experienced performer, somebody who's trusted by the other members of the cast. And then whatever conflict is brought to that person, they then bring it to the stage manager. And if it's not resolved by the stage manager, then they bring it to the director. So that prevents actors from knocking on the director's door all evening or all day long with what might very well be petty differences. There could be major issues, obviously, but it's a system in place that I hadn't experienced before to establish that chain of command. And if everybody agrees to follow it, then that makes conflict resolution much easier, and it also frees up the director to focus on the play itself rather than managing the personnel and the conflicts that can come with that. So I look forward to sharing with you as we get closer to opening night more details about our production. It is a comedy, a farce called A Flea in Her Ear, the translation by David Ives, and we're really proud of the work we've done so far. It was especially interesting to me to read these few chapters in the book because I am literally in the thick of it, of doing the things that were written about there, and I look forward to continuing and in the following weeks to sort of compare what my experience is to what we're learning in the reading. So thanks, and we will see you next week.